Mystery drones fly over Colorado and Nebraska. But who's controlling them? On a deserted road, the sky is illuminated by stars and a waxy crescent moon, when a small series of red and white lights flash quickly, indicating the countryside landscape. Aerial objects hurry to the sky hundreds of meters above the plane and the wind turbines. A few minutes later, another one crawls in the horizon and another, and the aircraft, the drones, hover over a huge expanse of land outside a small town in Colorado. The last chance, as they say. We coexist with them now. This is what Lincoln County Captain Michael Yoel says. We see it and we just lift our shoulders, and what else can we do? Since mid-December, a legion of unexplained aircraft has flown into the skies in at least 9 counties in eastern Colorado and western Nebraska, and this phenomenon is creating wild conspiracy theories, misleading services, and misinformation. That's because people still don't know why this is going on. Who is behind these drones? They have no permit to be flying at night. Drones are not supposed to be flying at night. And the Federal Aviation Administration and the Colorado Department of Homeland Security are investigating the bizarre flights, as Commander Jared Polis and U.S. Senator Cory Gardner promised to reach a conclusion concerning this investigation. Local sheriffs and residents are both concerned and fascinated by this phenomenon. They want to find out the whereabouts of these strange visitations. Who's behind all this? Inside the Lincoln County Sheriff's Office in Hugo on the afternoon of Thursday, January 9, 2020, Sheriff Tom Nestor and Captain Yoel looked at a map of the county hanging in a narrow corridor. It's dotted with blue and yellow dots reflecting observations from all over the county of over 5,500 people reporting these sightings. There are a number of nails, pins clustered around the map, Interstate 90 in Lyman, with some scattered north and south of the interstate. Some people reported the aircraft flying in swarms of more than 20. Others saw some solo flights, and Yoel said, pointing to a pin nailed near Lyman, he said, this one just sat on its head, just sat there over the position for an hour and a half. Yoel and Nestor thought they had figured out a plan for these flights. The aircraft first appeared after Christmas in the northern part of the county, then traveled south, mostly on rigid grid-like patterns. They traveled across the country horizontally, down one track, and then returned in the other direction. Lincoln County officials are expecting to reach the southern part of the county. They say that they're expected to reach the southern part of the county as these drones make their way down the state again. So what is this? What's going on? Anyway, Nestor said that he had spoken with local oil companies and experts. Neighboring sheriffs have spoken to the Army. And let me see, because I'm translating this. To the Army, Air Force, and environmental protection agencies, and the Defense of North America, and to the University of Colorado Boulder. And they all say that these are not their drones. Okay, so all these Defense Department, Air Force, Advanced Research Programs, Department of Defense, Environmental Protection, British Aerospace Defense Administration of North America, University of Colorado Boulder, this informed the Denver Post that this is not, they have nothing to do with all this. Senator Gardner, whose hometown of Yuma is in the doldrums of the phenomenon, said the FAA is working with federal law enforcement to track down the pilot who's piloting these things. Sheriffs said their aircraft were not being operated at that time, but the drones industry expert said the aircraft operators could violate FAA regulations or flying at night and above certain heights. While law enforcement agencies are trying to solve the mystery, aircraft reported throughout the area of Lincoln urges residents to get to know who is around there, to keep their eye out, and if there's anybody that's not native to their people, if there's some strangers just milling around, to let the authorities know. Okay. Now, Faye Harding has not seen these mysterious flying objects, but has heard about them from residents at the Plains Bar in downtown Hugo, where she works. And Harding has heard all the theories mentioned about, she's not worried. She says, I don't think they will take me away, but she said smiling, but it's definitely interesting, something different. Now behind this is very serious. To me, this is very serious. It's been months now since Christmas, and nobody knows why these drones are out there in packs. They're not supposed to be flying at night. They're out there anyway, and nobody and the Defense Department doesn't even know who's behind all this. This is very serious, don't you think? Now, I don't understand. Why don't they just bring one of them down? Anyway, behind the counter of the Country Pride restaurant in Lyman, Stephanie Hill's eyes lit up when asked about these flying drones, these things, these unidentified drones. She says, my husband is really with aliens. She referred to her late husband while serving burgers and fries. Hill said her 9-year-old daughter was sticking her neck out of the car, the window, trying to see the flashing lights above. She thinks there really are aliens, Hill said. And she explained that at sunset, the minute the first stars appear in the sky, that's when these things appear as well. Right at sunset, when the first stars appear, these drones are out. Around 6:10 p.m., a Denver Post journalist and photographer saw 2 unmanned drones. They're, of course, these strange, mysterious, UFO drones. They were flying westbound on I-70, about 8 miles outside of Lyman, and more of these drones could be spotted outside the city, the so-called last opportunity city. A light sound passing over their heads. A red light, white flashing lights on the craft. 2 other yellow lights stayed throughout. They were not flashing. And the flight, within 20 minutes, one could see half a dozen objects flying over barren wind farms. On the dark road outside of Lyman, Allen, Lincoln's deputy, looked up at the skies, enthusiastically pointing to these drones as they entered their vantage point. He says, see the flashing lights? It's much faster than a normal aircraft, he said. Allen and his colleagues have been receiving calls for 10 days, hustling to respond as residents across the county report on observations of these mysterious drones. Is it a mapping company, oil and gas recovery, government espionage? No one has any answers. It's a mixture of worry and curiosity, Allen said, as the planes pass one after another. He said, it's really just uncertainty. This is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. The FBI is investigating these mysterious drones over Colorado, and we still have no comment as to who is behind them, why they're flying at night, even though they're not supposed to be doing that. Even the Defense Department, oil companies, everybody, nobody knows. They state that they do not belong to them. They don't know who is behind this. So this is still a mystery. I leave a link below for you for this. I've translated this from a Greek article, Diadrastika. Thank you. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.